That's REC.
There,
Oh,
there it goes.
All right.
Is it going?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Walk up
Okay,
there.
wait, I have to stop it.
Okay. No, we're still walking.
Okay, is it?
I think we're good.
Okay, so when you guys think of people in the military, what are your first things that come to your mind?
Men.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for saying that. So sadly, when people think of homosexuals, they don't think of those three things. They don't think of strong, they don't think of brave, they usually think of men. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today is gays in the military. My three things I'm going to be talking about is the history, the repeal and the law that was put in place, and the present day of what's going on now. So in March 11, 1778, Lieutenant Gotthold Frederick Enslin was actually the first member of the service that was discharged for being homosexual, and that fell under the order of George Washington, so that kind of shows how far back this has gone. In 1942, the military psychiatrist actually stated that anybody that was homosexual had a psychopathic personality disorder, and if you were homosexual then, or if it came out or whatever, you were immediately discharged because it wasn't allowed because you had a disorder, and you were stripped of your benefits as well. May 1980, this was like the first thing that came to like, somebody was trying to fight against being gay in the military. It was Staff Sergeant Miriam Benchelon. She was discharged from the military for being homosexual, and then she actually is the first person that fought it. So she brought it to the courts and she brought it to the Army because she realized that it violated her First Amendment rights. And the Army actually just dismissed it altogether. And then so she knew that she had to keep fighting, so she brought it all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court actually ruled against her and in favor of the Army. So that was the first attempt that failed, but it was still an attempt to try to get it out there basically. January 16, 1981, the Department of Defense states that homosexuality is incapable, or people that are homosexual are incapable of military service, and engaging in or attempting to engage in or soliciting another to engage in a homosexual act would be lines for being discharged as well. And then when Governor Bill Clinton was running for office, he actually stated that if he were to become president, he was going to take away this and he was going to allow gays to serve in the military. So as we know, he was elected as president, and on November 30th, 1993, he actually failed to fulfill his promise completely, and that's when he instilled the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. They say it was a failure, and it was like a compromise that he did to the people that are in the government, because Don't Ask, Don't Tell is actually a policy that allows you to serve if you're homosexual in the military, but you're not allowed to be open. You're not allowed to tell people you're gay. So basically it's just still shunning them, but they're allowed to serve. So it doesn't really make sense. It was just kind of to please the people because he promised something, but he didn't get the full backup from the people of the government. Some effects of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy were that there were psychological issues that came about it, because these homosexuals were kind of being accepted, but not really. And then being in the military is part of being like a family, and they weren't being accepted by their family, in a sense. So they weren't allowed to be themselves. And then it actually hurt the U.S. government, kind of, in a way, because monetarily, because each regular member of the military that was discharged, it cost the government and taxpayers, so us, $28,266 for each member that was discharged, and $120,772 for each officer that was discharged, and that was the cost to retrain people to fulfill those spots. And then, so at the end of the year, it cost $30 million for our government. And then, and there was 13,000 members that were discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. So that's a lot of money. And then, so when Senator Barack Obama was running for presidency, he promised that if he were to become president, he was going to repeal the act within 100 days of being in office. And on December 22nd, 2010, he actually fulfilled that promise and repealed the act. It didn't become official until 60 days later, but it was still in place and it still is today. The present day, well, I couldn't really find that much information since it was only like 4 years ago. So I actually interviewed somebody that's currently in the military. I interviewed a longtime friend. He's a specialist in the U.S. Army. So basically, I just asked him like his opinion on it and like if they were educated in the military, because he's been in for about 2 years. So when he got in, the law was already repealed. And he said that they're educated about it, and what, quote, he said, he's been educated that it's an outdated rule that was overdue for change. So everyone, well, most of the people or the people he's come in contact with have told him that it's basically something that shouldn't have ever been in place. Because like he pretty much told me in the interview is that he personally accepts anybody for who they are. He has fellow coworkers and soldiers that are gay, and he said that like he doesn't even realize it anymore because it doesn't matter. They do exactly what he does, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So he personally doesn't think that it should have ever been in place because they do exactly what he does. So I thought that was cool, and so what I got out of the interview with him is that they're educated, and it's creating unity within our military service. So that's only going to make us stronger as a nation with our military. And then if you think about it, they're probably discharging people for being gay, but those people probably could have made a big difference in our military service. So now that they can't do that, it's going to only make us stronger because we're not dismissing those people that can make a difference, whatever their sexual orientation is. So that's pretty much my speech, and I hope what you guys got out of this is that it doesn't really matter what you are or what you look like, that everyone can kind of do the same thing.